When you talk about whether or not this policy is working, this is where you're going to find out whether or not the policy is working. We're at the foot of the Anzalduas Bridge. This is one of the most popular illegal crossing destinations for migrants who are coming here to turn themselves in illegally. During the Central American migrant crisis, hundreds of migrants at a time would come up roads just like this, under this bridge, and present themselves to the Border Patrol right here to turn themselves in. When you want to measure whether or not family separation is deterring people from coming into this country, this is where you're going to figure that out. The Border Patrol tells us so far, we haven't seen anybody here yet this morning, but the Border Patrol tells us so far that it has not slowed the flow of people coming into this country. Let me show you around a little bit about what's going on here. This is the bridge between Reynosa, Mexico and Mission, Texas. So Mission, Texas is out that way. This is a flood channel, and that's a Bush-era levee wall project up there. This is not a place where people are going to come and actually try to run from the Border Patrol. That's what they call impactables out here in Border Patrol lingo. This is a place most people come to declare asylum. And actually, if we could just walk a little bit down this way, I want to show you where, at the heart of the Central American migrant crisis, you could get potentially 1,000 people in a day, if not more, coming into this country. They'd walk up from the Rio Grande, up roads just like this, and essentially hope that the Border Patrol would come and find them. And that's what these families are hoping, that the Border Patrol comes out here to find them and then brings them back into detention. What's obviously happening now with the zero tolerance policy, those families are getting separated, and it's creating this crisis down on the border. Again, the Border Patrol says, as of right now, in areas like this, it has not deterred people from crossing. They caution that the journey from Central America often takes weeks at a time, and it hasn't had the impact yet, the messaging at least, to slow people down or make them decide that they're going to stop coming. We have not seen anybody out here yet, but if the Border Patrol is correct, there are going to be people crossing through here today, Steph.
Jacob, thank you so much for laying that out. I want people to understand that even those who are crossing illegally, they're crossing and looking for Border Patrol to find them so they can process their request. Help us understand why there's this increase in families and unaccompanied minors. What specifically they're fleeing in Central America? Because I think people here don't understand the picture they're facing.
Violence, basically. I mean, and actually the violence that many of them are fleeing in Central America is violence that's perpetrated by gangs that actually started in places like my hometown, Los Angeles. When you hear about MS-13 from President Trump or the 18th Street gang, Barrio 18. In fact, I stood here maybe a couple months ago, and I met families that came here to seek asylum, and one of them said that they had been terrorized by Barrio 18. Those are Los Angeles street gangs where the original members were undocumented immigrants and deported to Central America. Those gangs exploded in those Central American countries and terrorized communities down there. It's literally something that was exported from the streets of Los Angeles down to Central America. And the violence that's happening down there now is in large part due to gangs that first roamed the streets, not of Central America, but of the city of Los Angeles. And so it is incorrect to hear the president say, or at least the attorney general, that those are the violence down there is something that comes from that culture. It's a culture that started north of the border and very specifically in Southern California. And when you're here and when you hear people present themselves to the Border Patrol, they say the names of the gangs that started on the streets of Los Angeles.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.